My mama's worth in Venezuela, mama like Cinderella, mama's got a chunga, yeah. I say hola, hola, hola bossa nova. I say yeah, 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 yeah. I got a chunga, yeah. Daddy just marijuana, daddy smokes marijuana, daddy's got a chunga, yeah. My daddy wrote Don Quixote, daddy wrote El Quixote, daddy's got a chunga, yeah. I say no, 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 no more tequila, no. I say yeah, 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 yeah. I got a chunga, yeah. Mama's lives in Argentina, mama's got a chunga, yeah. My mama's worth in Venezuela, mama like Cinderella, mama's got a chunga, yeah. I say hola, hola. My mama cooks in Italy, mama swims in Argentina, mama's got a chunga, yeah. My mama's worth in Venezuela, mama like Cinderella, mama's got a chunga, yeah. I say hola, hola, hola bossa nova. I say yeah, 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 yeah. I got a chunga, yeah. Daddy just marijuana, daddy smokes marijuana, daddy's got a chunga, yeah. My daddy wrote Don Quixote, daddy wrote El Quixote, daddy's got a chunga, yeah. I say no, 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 no more tequila, no. I say yeah, 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 yeah. I got a chunga, yeah. Mama's lives in Argentina, mama's got a chunga, yeah. My mama's worth in Venezuela, mama like Cinderella, mama's got a chunga, yeah. I say hola, hola.
Lizzdom now has a Patreon. Your help will allow Liz to make the show even bigger, cover costs, and help bring on celebrity guests. Go to patreon.com/Planet Lizzdom and pledge now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Planet Lizzdom. That was my new Patreon bumper. I finally did the thing. I actually started a Patreon, and I'm so pleased to share it with you guys tonight. I did it, it happened in the 11th hour so quickly that I didn't even get a chance to put two very important people in the thank you comments for making that. So Mysterion and Steffi K, thank you so much for putting that together for me. I truly appreciate that, and I'm so humbled. Guys, I can't even tell you how exciting it is to make a Patreon. As soon as you launch it, they throw digital confetti in the air. I mean, I wish everything in my life had that. It was such a beautiful moment, and I'm so glad that I got to experience that today, because today's episode makes me feel like I want to throw confetti up in the air. For those of you who have never joined us before, welcome. Planet Lizzdom is a platform and a place for entertainers, artists, entrepreneurs, and creators where we showcase and celebrate how you are thriving during this crazy time. And man, every week I am just blown away by each person that comes to visit us, because you guys are really redefining what it is to thrive. Speaking of doing the thing, tonight's guest is just the perfect example of what it is to be intrepid. She's an amazing fashion designer and an entrepreneur. And not only did she relocate from Toronto to Las Vegas, she did it during a time that most people couldn't even fathom getting out of bed or even just dealing with the next day. Guys, I want you actually to give her a very warm welcome. Everybody, I want you to welcome Elle Rebel to the show. I am too excited. I can't help it. Elle, how are you?
Good. That was such a sweet intro. Thank you. Intrepid.
Intrepid. Well, I believe in doing the thing, and even falling on your face live to air is absolutely okay.
I also love that your intro had the Rebel Rebel lyrics on there. That was actually written on, or like graffitied on the wall of my first store. So it's...
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I actually drew that this afternoon. I couldn't think of what to make for Peter Rabbit, and I couldn't get that song out of my head, and I was like, why do I keep singing that?
It was like some psychic connection. This was happening. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's such a big deal to have you here. And look, we already have fans saying, what's up, Elle?
Hi.
And hi, Queerine. What a great name. Hi.
Yeah, we call her Q because her name is too cool.
That is way too cool. Thanks for joining us. So Elle, for those of us who may not know much about you, tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Why are you so awesome?
I'm Elle, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm known mostly for fashion design, but I do all sorts of product design. I started out in retail selling mainly rockabilly clothes, but all subculture clothing. And then I started doing my own collection I keep saying 3 years ago, but that's because we all lost a year of our lives. So technically 4 years ago. Yeah.
That's so true. I really kind of got to know you through your store in Toronto, Rosie the Rebel.
Yeah.
Which was just such a fantastic story. I really loved that it was so beautiful and unique, and you really drew a lot of people to your store, actually, including...
Yeah, we did a lot of events. I mean, we had a lot of fun, and I also had such a cool crew of girls working there, and they were always up for doing all sorts of crazy stuff, so we kept it interesting, and I think that really helps involve the whole subculture community in Toronto, so everybody kind of felt like they had a home there.
Absolutely. It really was kind of a nexus point, Absolutely. Now, I love Genesis stories, or becoming stories. Being as highly creative and driven as you are, at what point did you realize, I'm a really creative person. I want to make a career out of being a designer or an artist? What was that moment for you?
People ask me that a lot, because I think everybody's waiting to have that epiphany moment of what they want to do with their lives. And I am one of the very lucky few people who have always known what I wanted to do. So I've always been on this same path. And I got on that path, I would say, because my parents really nurtured creativity. Me and my brothers are all artists, and it didn't really matter what weird thing we wanted to do. It was always supported. So yeah, we're all really privileged in that way that we had that artistic support from the beginning. And yeah, I just started, you know, actually getting into fashion was difficult. I'm sure anybody in fashion knows this, but like you can't get a job unless you have some sort of experience. So getting to the point where I felt like I had a career path took a while. So even though I always knew what I wanted to do and every step I took was towards that goal, it really did take a while before I felt like, all right, I'm doing this, you know, it's actually happening.
Wow. You know, I have to commend you for your tenacity because you're absolutely right. When you graduate from school in any creative industry, you're not guaranteed a job. And typically, you know, you have to really work your way from the bottom to the top, you know.
And even then, like when I opened my store, it was because I actually applied for a bunch of jobs and got nothing. So that was really like the thing that was like, all right, I knew I wanted to do entrepreneurship anyway. Let's do it now, even though I wasn't prepared financially or, you know, even mentally probably. I couldn't actually get a job in my field at that time. I had moved to Newfoundland. I'd moved back to Newfoundland after living in Toronto for school. And there wasn't that many jobs in fashion, if any. There was like 3 stores. None of them were calling me back. So I was like, you know what? I'll just open my own thing. And it worked out, luckily. It could have not worked out, but it worked out.
No, good for you. You know, and I think, you know, I know I ask every single entrepreneur, you know, how do you approach the what do you call it? The fact that you just don't know what's going to happen. You know,
I know what you mean. Yeah. That is something that I look at a bunch of entrepreneurs, people who spend, you know, 100% of their job is entrepreneurship. You know, they're not working for other people in any capacity. And I think what kind of ties everybody together is the ability to sort of dive into the unknown. Obviously, you know, you need to prepare as much as possible, but the ability to then dive into the unknown, I think, is the thing wrong with our brains that makes us different as entrepreneurs is, you know, the ability to take risks. It's absolutely crucial. Yeah.
absolutely. You know, and it's the thing where, you know, that risk taking, it pays off in the end no matter what because you took the risk. You know,
Yeah.
you did the thing.
Yeah. And you mentioned about like me moving in the pandemic. By the way, I didn't think that was going to work at all. And I called my mom that day. I think it was that day or the day before. And I just said, you know, I'm going to try to do this because if I don't, I'll think like, you know, I'll think about it for the rest of my life. Like if I didn't try, you have to at least try. So I went in to try 100% believing I was going to fail. And that is the way I approach a lot of things in life, honestly. I may not have the confidence going into them. I may think I'm like, oh my God, I'm not prepared for this. But I do have the gumption enough to try it. And putting myself in those positions, honestly, has worked out on, you know, most levels. And it worked out for that one. Like when I walked through the gates, I was like, how did that just happen? I can't believe it just gave me that visa. That's crazy. But yeah.
That's a great approach, actually. You know,
Yeah.
I've never really thought about it that way, but I've always thought about it as, you know, what would be worse, trying it and it not working or not trying it at all?
Not trying it at all because you think about it forever. Like what would have happened if I had tried that? And at least if you did try, you know, you can't think about that and think, oh God, you know, what would have happened if? I hate what ifs, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I always do ask everybody, you know, when the pandemic first, you know, the first lockdown happened. I know in Toronto it was, for me, it was St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2020. Whereabouts in your move were you?
So my flight was March 17th, which was the border lockdown day. And yeah, I remember thinking like, oh, I'm going to fly on St. Patrick's Day. No, you are not going to fly on St. Patrick's Day. So I had already packed up my entire apartment. And anybody who lives in Toronto knows, like, if you have a good apartment in Toronto, leaving a good apartment is a risk in itself. So, like, for me, even to pack up that place and go, I was, like, pretty, you know, positive this is something I wanted to do with my life. And then, yeah, all of my stuff is shipped. It was being held in Detroit because your stuff can't enter the country unless you enter the country. And they closed the borders. So they canceled my flight. And I didn't know what to do at all. Like, all of my stuff was gone. And at that time, the people who had originally hired me for a contract job in the States, which was what my visa was under, were also going through this, like, what is happening? So they ended up making the decision to, like, let's postpone this. And I was like, all right, so I've lost my job. All of my stuff is being held at the border. I have nowhere to live and nobody can share an apartment with me because it's a pandemic. Like, it was a beautiful way to start the year. Yeah. But I really lucked out because, you know, Tanya Cheeks.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, come over here. I got a spare room. And that was such a nurturing environment for me. And we just did like that first month of the pandemic together, which I think was really good for her, really good for me. We had like a buddy system there. And it was her that I was like living with when I left for the border, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go try this thing. I'll be back in an hour. We can make tacos or something. Like, I really did not think I was gonna be moving that day. But yeah, that was a bit of a whirlwind. And then I got through and I got here, and yeah.
That's amazing. And Tanya Cheeks is such an amazing person. For those of you who don't know her, she is one of the awesome people in our circle. She's just she just has so much love to give, and she's just such a solid person. So I can't think of anyone better for me to start lockdown with. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, and Donna's right. You poor girl. Of course, Tanya would take care of you. She's such a sweetie. Oh, and hey, you know what? Jane's saying something really nice. Super interview. That's my girl.
That's my mother, by the way.
Aw, thanks, Jane. You know, it's always nice when you have the support of your parents and your family. It really does make such a huge difference, you know. And that's where
honestly a world of difference. And I know that like a lot of people are able to do what they want in life without that support, and that's why like I really, really thank the universe for placing me in that situation, because like it's so much easier to take risks in life when you know there's always somebody there for you. And that is my privilege. Like, I know that I can take a risk and I will always have people that got my back. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's pretty cool to have that family.
That's very cool. I don't know if I asked you, but when you moved to Las Vegas, did you know anybody there when you moved, or was this, you know, just what was the impetus for moving there?
I have been traveling there a lot. And so in terms of America, it was the one place where I felt like I already had a bit of a network of people that I knew. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a new city, and I haven't really been able to explore or expand on that network too much because it's been a pandemic. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about Vegas that's super welcoming, and everybody here is really nice. So I could have done California. That was originally where the job was going to be. And then the company that ended up offering me a position and got me over the border, you know, I wouldn't have got over the border without them, was Rockin' Betty, and they happened to be in Las Vegas. So that just kind of worked out that they offered me that. And yeah, I mean, Amy at Rockin' Betty is like, she's the absolute lifesaver. She gave me an opportunity and absolutely took a risk because she was not at all planning for that. You know what I mean? Like, she was not planning on starting a collection or anything like that. So she took a risk on me, and it's been working out for both of us.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I know you were just telling me pre-show before we went live that you got back some stills for your new fall collection.
Yeah, I wish I'd shared them with you. You could put them on the screen.
Aww, that's okay. We can. I will happily direct everybody to the right URLs to see that, you know, insider information like that when, you know, after the show for sure.
I will be launching that collection. That's the Rebel Love collection. I'll be launching that on Saturday.
On Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
everybody
soon.
can see all the pictures. They're beautiful pictures.
Oh my gosh. So if everybody goes to rebellove.com, they can see everything?
Yep.
Wicked. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm excited. Just so you know, guys, this is what rebellove.com looks like. Just so that when you go to their page, you can go, hey, that's what I should be looking at.
That's it.
Right? I honestly, the reason I show screenshots like that, and it's because I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s with the internet. So even if I type in the right URL, sometimes I need the visual to know that I've reached the right place. And I know it's a very old lady thing, but it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, it's awesome. And also because, you know, I'm also old, I find that super high tech and very cool.
Thank you. You know, I don't think either of us will ever actually technically be old. Honestly, we'll be in our 80s still acting like we're 17.
I will be wearing lipstick when I'm 90 years old and dyeing my hair black. I'm going to be that old lady. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to be the one that's like, I want to be like the green-haired Iris Apple covered in jewelry in caftans.
I can see it.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Like a punk rock Mrs. Roper.
Yeah. You know, I've never worn caftans personally. I've designed them in the past, but I've never worn them personally. And then I just recently did Tiki Oasis for the first time. It was the first time I've ever worn a caftan, and I get it. Like, I get it. It's the most comfortable thing in the world.
Oh, it is the best.
Yeah.
Oh, like you go from caftan to muumuu. It is just one slide over.
I need a waist. Like, in everything I do, I need a waist. So I don't think you will ever see Elle in a muumuu. But yeah, I'm into the caftans. They're definitely comfortable. And for an event when we're like multiple days, like the more you're drinking or eating tacos, it just covers everything and makes it super easy.
Absolutely. I find especially in this heat, I can't get fancy. Like, this is literally the fanciest I got for you today. I wore an embroidery little shirt that I found on the weekend. I'm like, yes, I am dressed up.
I didn't even see it before because your beautiful hair was over it. It's so pretty.
My hair's in the way. I found this in Kensington Market for $10. I was like, sold.
I love it. That's like that early 70s boho feels. I like it.
Totally. Well, I find early 70s boho is having another moment again.
It is. And I went that way with my fall collection as well. It's like early 70s inspired, but like in my own sort of way.
Oh, I'm so excited.
But I'm all about the comfort. Like, I don't know if anybody has worn anything from Rebel Love, but I'm always thinking about comfort, because regardless of the pandemic or the heat or anything, if you know me, you know that I always have to be comfortable. Like, I'm not gonna be walking around in heels. I'm gonna be in stretch fabrics. Like, I choose comfort over beauty.
Oh yeah,
always. Which is why, like, when I did the Shein collection, that was 100% me just being like, how can we cater to the pandemic lounge style? That's what I was thinking. Like, how can I be as comfy and cute as possible?
Well, and I love your Shein collection. I'm so glad you mentioned it, because I went crazy for it when it first came out, and I know I'm a weird size. I'm in between regular and plus, so I had to go for the largest stretch garment, because I know I think you haven't the plus version isn't yet available.
They just approved the plus size extensions last week, so they're producing them right now, which is good, because to be honest, it's hard for a brand where I've been plus size for most of my life, so I'm always trying to be inclusive, and to launch something with such a large company that was not inclusive, it was. I felt bad. Like, I felt bad posting it, and I'm sure you saw it every time I posted. I'm like, I swear more sizes are coming. Like, I felt really bad, but they are now coming. I think they just wanted to see that the stuff is was gonna sell, and it's doing really well. So yeah, they actually approved it, which is great. So now everybody can have it. Oh
my gosh, I'm gonna be like that gif of the little girl throwing her money out the window.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, it's not even that much money. I had to I bought the whole collection myself, and it was like $200 for all of the things, which is
trust me, Elle, as soon as it gets cool out, I am wearing my new fringe dress of yours that I ordered, because I love it. Oh my gosh. Like,
I'm actually so surprised that they approved all of this stuff in a summer collection, because first of all, it was like all black, and then there's like long sleeves and stuff, but I really just wanted to do like the cool gothy boho desert vibes that I can't really do with Rebel Love because of price point. So I just wanted to do these styles regardless of them being seasonally appropriate or not. So I'm glad that people are buying them now and then just saving them for later.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the truth of Canada. It will be cold soon, Yeah. Very soon I will get to wear that. And I'm so excited that they repealed the plus size, because all the lacy garments, I know myself and quite a few of my friends want to order it, but lace does not really have a lot of stretch, so we're really excited for that. And yeah, the price point is just so good.
Is my audio being all like prickly right now?
A little bit crickly, yeah. That's okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. I'm probably too far away from the interwebs, but my boyfriend's in there and I don't want to bother him with this whole conversation. I'm hiding in my studio right now.
It's all good. I'm in the studio right now too. It's like an oven in here.
It's an oven in here too. If very soon I'm gonna have to, pad my face in some way. It's gonna be black, like coming down my face.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have the eyeliner going like this, like Gene Simmons, but not, or like Alice Cooper, but not cool Alice Cooper. I know you and I were talking about that last night. In Vegas, you have the dry heat, and in Toronto, we have the humid heat.
Except we're humid today. We're 30% precipitation today, so it sucks. It's hot, plus it's humid today. So, yeah. But yeah, like I said yesterday, I can't really complain because we get 3 months of bad weather here, and it's not that bad. So
that's true. Well, cheers to your great weather. Let's have it. Let's stay hydrated here. Ching.
Ching ching.
Now, I mean, that brings up a very good point. You're in Las Vegas where it is warm all the time, and you are creating, some cooler weather garments. As a designer, do you try on a lot of your patterns and stuff like that? Like, do you find it's really difficult sometimes to put on your own things to test them out, or?
Before I answer that, I'm going to attempt to fix what's happening here by closing some programs. All right, hold a moment.
Well, I can still see or hear you, which is good.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm trying to do tech things I know nothing about.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to put up the Shein page again. If you go to Shein and look for Rebel Love Clothing, actually, if you just type in the keyword Rebel, it'll bring it up for you.
It has to be Rebel because it used to be a tag of Rebel Love Clothing, and now apparently it's a tag of Elle Rebel. They changed it at some point, so.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if what I did fixed it. I had about 40 apps open, so that might have been something. Tell me what your question was about, like designing for different weather.
Well, when you're designing for different weather, like say for example, you're designing for fall winter, and long sleeves, maybe higher neck, with a muslin or some sort of temporary pattern making fabric. Do you ever try it on to see how it fits or feels or looks? Or do you just completely leave it to it?
But I also work with a lot of the same fabrics over and over again because I can trust them. So
okay.
I use Bengaline a lot. I use Ponte a lot. I use stretch cottons a lot for the summer. I'm doing some more stuff in like knit poly, but that's because it's okay for fall. It's a little bit 70s, and I can do custom printing. Like the thing behind me is poly.
That is stunning. I love that piece. I've been staring at it this whole time.
But yeah, honestly, when I'm designing, I don't. I'm always designing for a lot of things. Like I do mainly wholesale. So when other designers, like I always say designers because I don't think of myself as like a real designer. I like cater myself to wholesale, which means I have to have sort of an array of styles. Because if they all sort of look the same, if they all look very cohesive and they all look like they're part of one collection, I might get wholesale buyers buying 1 or 2 pieces and not, 20 different styles because they can't fill their store with a bunch of stuff that looks the same. So I usually do stuff with diversity, and I'm always having to think of different like areas of the world. You know what I mean? Like, would they buy this in Japan? Would they buy this in the Netherlands? Would they buy it in Canada? So yeah, it's just now my brain is programmed to design that way.
That's really, really cool to think about, actually. What would you say your coolest moment's been, as a designer?
I'm gonna narrow it down for me.
maybe a moment when you went, oh my gosh, I've arrived. People who don't.
That's not ever been a thought at all. No. But obviously I'm very goal oriented. So I have had moments where I'll take a breath in the present and be like, oh, I did that thing that I was working so hard to do. But the way, entrepreneurs work and any goal oriented people work is by the time you reach a goal, you already have another goal that's like so far beyond that. So you're constantly chasing after a sort of unachievable feeling of satisfaction, if anything. So I do try to take time to be like, oh, I'm doing that thing that I worked so hard in, and try to like feel that moment. I felt that honestly when I opened my first store, and I was standing there like, after hours, and you have that moment where you're like, oh, I did that thing and it was really hard. Same with when I opened the Toronto store. I mean, I've had that moment multiple times with Rebel Love when we've got to work with, amazing models or go to certain events or do cool things. And, you think, oh, I'm doing that thing, I'm doing it. But yeah, and of course coming here as well, like just, moving to Vegas and starting the next phase of my career, I've definitely had that moment. But it is, I think for everybody, those are lifelong moments. There's never been one where I was like, I made it, because I don't think I'll ever feel like that. You know what I mean? I'll always think that there's more that I can do.
And, I mean, half of me is, I kind of agree. Like half of me is like, yeah, I want to feel like I've made it. But the other part is like, well, I'm so afraid that if I feel like that, then I'm going to stop.
Wouldn't that be nice though? Like, I actually think that I'm defective, that like, I'm so jealous of people who are able to find their happiness and sit in that satisfaction. Like that, I think, is a really beautiful thing if you can do that in life. And I do think it's part of my default that I'm constantly trying to like nurture that part, because it's not natural to me. Yeah, I'm definitely always trying to like chase after this fantasy idea that exists somewhere in the future.
I totally get it. It's the whole enjoying the journey, not the destination. But at the same time, it's true. Like, what is that aha feeling? I've arrived. Like I've done the thing.
I mean, that should happen all throughout life. That should just be happening all the time. If we had one moment where we thought, I've done it, and didn't want to do anything more, that would probably be a pretty bad feeling. I don't know, that would not be great. But I do feel like I've taken steps in terms of career wise. I think I've taken steps and I've taken risks, and I feel satisfied that I'm on a path. I feel good at where I am. I think a lot of people, I'm 35 now, so I think a lot of people, when they are in their mid 30s, they had this idea of like where their parents were when they were in their 30s, or what you were supposed to achieve by 30. That's obviously not the case anymore. And I've realized more and more that the designers, or, anybody I look up to, they only really started making it when they were like either deep into their 30s or into their 40s. So I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself, and be happy with where I'm at and like the path that I'm on.
You are so smart to do that, because you're absolutely right. Those goalposts and those achievements, they're completely different in this day and age. You're absolutely correct. I mean, 30 is kind of the new 20, 40 is kind of the new 30. And also because of the uncertainty in this world, we've all been thrust into this, uncomfortable area that is unfamiliar to all of us. Age all of a sudden is not, how do I put it? I feel a huge awakening in society that people are starting to realize that youth and beauty are not an accomplishment, but experience and tenacity really are. I
would love to believe that as well. I hope that is the case. Yeah.
It's very subtle, but I am starting to notice that shift. Even when I look at social media, the amount of content out there geared towards women my age and older that is positive and celebratory is definitely something that wasn't there when I was in my 20s. That's for sure.
Probably not something our mothers got either. That's true. There has been a shift in that. But we also have to remember that we have to not give a shit about what society thinks or what other people think. It's all about if you're satisfied with yourself. That's the entire journey of life. So regardless of any of those goalposts, as long as you can feel like you're satisfied with the path that you're on, and I think that's the best we can all do.
Absolutely. Zero fucks given. And that's a hard place to get to. I have a lot of younger friends who are just so concerned with pleasing everybody and pleasing themselves in really weird, skewed ways. And I'm like, well, just do it because you want to.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, I think as women, as I don't know how this next generation is experiencing life. I just know how, our generation experienced it. But I think we felt like we did have to please people. We didn't have that woke moment where, I mean, I'm trying to say this in like a very polite way, but like, I feel like I didn't feel like, society accepted me as an equal, as a woman. So I felt like I was constantly trying to prove myself, even in, my early 20s. Like I opened my store when I was 24, and I was constantly trying to prove that I was like, good enough, or like on the level with like, men and stuff like that, even me. And I'm a strong woman. My mother's a feminist, her mother's a feminist, but I still felt that like desire to please people, or cater what I'm doing towards what other people think. I think that's common with all women, and you just have to kind of learn to get over that.
absolutely. I myself am constantly, fighting that indoctrination. From a little girl, I was taught that, oh, you have to make nice with everybody, be nice.
Yeah, be
I don't
nice.
want to be nice.
Girls are polite.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's not like let me say that there's no, like, my parents did not raise me that way at all. It's society. It was just, it's everywhere. It's everywhere you are. So even if your parents are like, very promoting equality and strength and all that kind of stuff, it's still everywhere. It still seeps into your brain and makes you insecure, all that kind of stuff.
oh my gosh, does it ever? And I'm always trying to make sure that my inside voice isn't my outside voice, because I came to realize, once I became an aunt to many young children, that, like it or not, we're all teachers. And the way you view the world and present yourself to the world and interact with the world teaches them how they should. And those little subtleties will kind of seep into their minds. So you might as well try to put your best foot forward and try to lead by example.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's not always easy. I'll catch myself and I'll be like, oh, what am I doing? Like, why am I being so negative about A, B, and C? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, especially around little kids, for sure.
Oh,
I mean, I watched, like, our parents' generation, the women in that generation, they so naturally talked negatively about themselves. That was, like, I think a thing that came from the baby boomer generation, because they had those, like, very traditional mothers. And I think they felt like they had a standard of beauty that needed to be lived up to. So, I mean, that was like a thing growing up, where I remember thinking like, oh, what's pretty? Like, why does pretty matter? Like, all that kind of stuff. Like, why doesn't she think she's pretty? So, yeah, it definitely matters. These little things we say around our children, it makes them question and build the reality that they live in.
absolutely. I have a vivid memory of a woman in my life, who shall remain nameless, looking at her driver's license saying, oh, I look so ugly. And in that moment, I thought to myself, that's a thing? Like,
Yeah.
like in my very young age, I'm like, you're supposed to like yourself when you look at your picture. What do you mean? And all of a sudden, it kind of started me on a path of maybe I shouldn't like the way I look.
Yeah.
Because that's what this adult is doing, and
this has been a big observation for me my whole life, because I work in the beauty industry. I work with people and their body insecurities, and why people think this about themselves has always been something I'm very interested in, and like, why do they think that, and how can we get them away from that, is like always the goal. Like, working in retail, like, that's the goal when they come in. They 100% of women walk in with insecurities. I don't care what they look like. It honestly has nothing to do with what they look like, because they're all spectrums of aesthetic beauty. But understanding why they feel that way, what in their life is making them feel that way, and like how we can shake them out of it.
It's so true. And I'm very transparent about this, but I hold a day job in retail, and I sell handbags, beautiful, gorgeous handbags to women who don't need them, and it's lovely. And I've come to notice that a woman's smile you can't contain it or hide it. So when she's trying on something, I can tell what she likes based on her smile, how big it is.
Yeah.
If she can't even decide between a few things, I'll have to hold it, Let me see your face. And the one where she's smiling the widest, I'm like, that's the one that you like. You can't explain it, but your subconscious likes it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I find sometimes, there's too much, I feel like sometimes there's just too much pressure put on, choosing things. Like, if you like it, wear it. If you like it, buy it, enjoy it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it takes us so long to get to that point in our lives, I mean, I'm actually very jealous of those 20-year-old girls who are there already. And I think about how many years I wasted thinking I had to overthink everything I put on my body. And I still do it now. Like, these things are not absolute, they're fluid. They have to do with like how much anxiety you have that day, or like, do you feel confident that month, and all this kind of stuff. It's like a constant battle. Yeah.
Constant. And I think dysmorphia is a real bitch. I'm just going to say that right now. I grew up in ballet.
Very real for everybody. Yeah.
Oh my God, some days my mirror is like a funhouse mirror, and I'm like, what am I looking at? This is ridiculous. Like, and I'll have to walk away and be like, it is what it is. My butt looks the way it does. This is how it is. It's fine.
The thing is, we have to stop saying it's fine. We have to say it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I do that as well. I'm like, I guess it's fine. But we have to like psychologically be like, what I'm seeing is great. Like,
you're absolutely right. I'm going to take your advice tomorrow, and I'm going to look in the mirror and be like, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Your hair is awesome. Your lipstick's awesome. Your whole styling is awesome. Your new shirt is awesome. Your face is beautiful. Everything about your personality is great. All of that is
right back at you. Darn right.
I'm wondering if there's anything I can do to fix the audio, because I feel so bad for your archiving of this.
You know what? Why don't I play something here, and you try your audio, and then I'll come right back.
Is it mine or is it yours? Because I hear your scratchiness as well.
Interesting, because I know here I'm good. Okay, let me just try one thing here. I'm going to try something fancy. I'm going to go to a different microphone and see if there's any difference there.
Sure.
How does that sound?
Keep going.
How does it sound for you guys watching? How's the audio? Like, can you hear us? Do we sound like robots? How is that all? How is that for you guys? Let's see in the comments what you're saying. And guys, if you have any questions for Elle, don't be shy. I mean, Planet Lizzdom is all about tuning in, turning on, and taking part. So let's get you guys talking. Oh yeah, that's so funny. Donna's saying she hears a phantom typist.
Jane says it doesn't sound scratchy for us. Really?
Okay, it's scratchy, but otherwise fine. Yeah, Kevin says it's fine.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Phantom Typist has a mic on. Okay, interesting. All right, it's the ghost of the machine. Woo. Here, guys, let me play this bumper, and then we'll be back in 2 seconds, okay? Give me 1 second here.
Hey, everyone. Planet Lizzdom now has a Patreon. Your help will allow Liz to make the show even bigger, cover costs, and help bring on celebrity guests. Go to patreon.com/Planet Lizzdom and pledge now.
Hopefully that works better. Wolfman says that all the Mad Men era advertising didn't exactly help women's self-image, and the awful articles and magazines too. This is true. The articles were terrible, and that era sometimes wasn't always in tune with the female experience. But that's okay. You know what? Things are changing, and it's all good. Even our ghost typist on the microphone is totally fine.
I missed that comment altogether. What did he say?
Well, he said that all the Mad Men era advertising didn't exactly help women's self-image, and the awful articles and magazines too. The ones where they would kind of tell women how to be. Treat your man with a chocolate martini.
Selling an idea of what a woman should be, for sure. Yeah.
And sometimes it really does continue to this day in a lot of media, for sure. Sometimes I'll walk past a magazine rack and have a bit of a laugh because I'll read some of the headlines.
Yeah, I mean, on the same side, the same thing happens to men. I know we're women, so we're talking about the female experience here, but we've watched this happen to men right alongside women. I'm hoping that with this next generation, they feel more like they can be themselves and whatever that means. You know what I mean? And I honestly feel like it is happening. I see little girls and little boys be just more openly confident with what they are, whether it's like a, you know, a style thing or a personality thing, or, you know, what they want to do with their lives, or how they interact with other people, how they set boundaries, all that kind of stuff I'm like seeing with little kids. So I don't know, hopefully it's just going to get better with every generation.
I'm hoping so too, because really, you know, we do need more kindness and we need more understanding. And if anything that comes from the pandemic, it is this replacement of values, you know, of just accepting each other and being happy with each other. You know, it's not so hard to be a good person.
No, I
You
mean,
know,
it's hard to think about other people. That is, I feel like that is the harder part. Not to be a good person, but to be respectful of other people. To put them before yourself is, I think, probably a struggle for most of humanity.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. You know,
I mean,
and
we're obviously living in that. I didn't even mean that to be like, you know, but yeah, we are living in that right now. We're constantly having to think about other people before ourselves.
yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. There's no escaping it. You know, it is the elephant in the room, and I think, you know, it's important for us to not shy away from it and to, you know, try to just be there for each other and definitely be considerate of each other. You know, I think that's, I mean, I've seen some beautiful, beautiful things happen over the past year where I've seen neighbors shopping for other neighbors or leaving something at their doorstep that they need because they can't get out of the house, or, you know, really, really important things like, you know, mental health awareness. You know, that Donna's saying, she's like, I'll push into an early health promotion, early health, mental health promotion. Absolutely. You know, that's so important. You know, I was talking about this last night, that, you know, it's really hard for teenagers right now because, you know, 1 year of a teenager's life is a decade for an adult in terms of all the things they're learning socially, you know, who they are learning about themselves, you know, in terms of style, music, culture, socially, and they can't leave the house. You know, I can't even imagine what that would have been like when I was 17 years old.
I mean, I'm an introvert, so I would have been like, awesome. But yeah, I mean, in terms of development, for sure, they're not interacting with other human beings, and that's huge for, you know, child development. And then how to deal with the just lack of sun and vitamin D, which is going to spiral into depression. And then how do they deal with depression and all that kind of stuff? It can't be good.
Right.
That's for sure.
Well, what sort of advice would you give a young person who is highly creative right now, who is kind of, you know, dealing with all this uncertainty but wants to be creative and push themselves forward? What would you recommend?
I mean, I think like start anywhere. I mean, it depends what age we're talking about here, but I think a lot of, you know, let's say teens want to be creative, and they sort of feel like they have to be good at something. Like, be okay with being bad at things. Like just be okay with being bad at things. You know, some of the best artists in the world, you can look at like Basquiat, and like he's bad, but he's also really good. So when it comes to art, you just have to start being comfortable with not having some sort of expectation for yourself. And for artists, it's all about how much I've developed. You know, like when you're graded in art school, it's a strange thing because it's not held to it like this specific standard. It's held to how much you've developed as an artist, and you should always be looking at it that way. You know, you might start painting and be like, I'm really bad at this, and just be okay with being bad at it and just keep doing it because it's fun. You know, it's fun, it's creative, gets your brain going, and you will get better to whatever standard that is that you think is better. Whatever makes you happy, you will eventually get there. I see artists do that all the time. I mean, like young girls that I've known through the business who have developed their art, and I saw them in the beginning, I thought, oh, they're good at that, and now I see them like, oh my god, they're amazing at that. And to see that like development over even like a 2-year span, specifically, she's not going to see this, but like Kara Spade that we just shot with, I remember like we did like a collab thing a few years ago, so I knew her slightly, and she's obviously like 100% an artist, but she was young then, like probably early 20s, and I just shot with her last week, and I'm like, you've spent time on your art, and 100% paid off. You know what I mean? I love seeing that, you know. Practice does work. It literally does.
It really does, and I absolutely love that advice that you're giving. Just keep doing it. It's totally okay to be bad at it. Just keep doing it every day.
Yeah,
commit.
it's okay to be bad at things. It's okay to be rejected. Like, be comfortable with people saying no to you. Be comfortable with people saying you're bad at that. Be comfortable with all of that, and you will do so much better in life. Like, don't be afraid of that. I think that's the hardest thing to overcome.
Absolutely. Get comfortable with failure. Absolutely. I fail every day, and I fail fantastically. And I don't do it again.
The first thing they teach you in roller derby is how to fall. And I think about that all the time. Like, that's the first thing they teach you, is to fall until you're comfortable with falling. And then you're not scared of falling anymore. And then you can work on all the other things. And like, that's such a good metaphor for life.
Oh my God. Yeah. I love that. Get comfortable with falling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that. I'm gonna keep that I'm gonna like hold that to my heart. Keep, just get comfortable with falling. I love it. I'm not even gonna write it down because it's in here. It's imprinted. No, it's true. It's true. Like I'm a seeker for philosophies and help, and I am a natural born helper. And I really, that's gonna. Sorry. I don't like things falling, so I get a little bit nervous, but. I'm a big believer in progress and process. And I think, the more you do something, the more you learn about how you do want to do it, and the more you learn about how you don't want to do it, which I think is just as valuable.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in terms of the art thing, I mean, it's embarrassing because like my brother is watching right now, but like, my whole family is like just naturally really good at art. And not that they don't spend obviously countless and devoted hours on their craft, but they've like, my brother Kevin is just like such a good natural artist. And even my brother Graham, such a good natural artist. So growing up, I was like, well, how come I'm not just like good at that right off the bat, but you don't have to be. You really don't have to be. You don't have to look at what other people are doing to like, feel good about what you're doing.
It's very true. I find sometimes the comparison game can really kind of get in the way of your creative.
I don't know if all siblings are like that, but I definitely looked at them like, oh, they're so cool. They're so good at art. How come I'm not good at art?
No, it's true. And Wolfman makes a very good point. Just be unapologetic of yourself. Yeah, Wolfman. He's so awesome. Honestly, Elle, we have the best group of people that tune in every week. Wolfman tunes in all the time. So does Jim Locresti, Donna Hill, all the time. Like, all the people that are putting out comments, they're just the best audience you could ever ask for. Absolutely. Yeah, you know what? It's like attracts like. I really believe that. And if you're a good person in your heart, and you're not a jerk, and you're willing to look out for each other, you can just attract nothing but the best.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I'm so glad you're doing this and like exposing people to like new and interesting artistic people. That's super cool.
Thank you. Well, I have to give a big bit of the credit to one of my friends who's a musician and a singer. He's the reason that I started this show, because he was back in January very suicidal because he couldn't perform. He felt like the stage was completely gone, and he was, for lack of a better word, bereft. He's just like, I how do I go on? I can't perform. And I thought, well, technically the stage didn't disappear. It's just changed, and we need to talk about that. And I thought, well, if he's really, suffering right now, maybe there are other artists right now who are feeling the same way and feeling lost. And
yeah,
what if maybe there are artists who are actually thriving? We need to know about that. We need to know that, creativity doesn't stop just because of the pandemic. It just changes, and that, it is possible to grow and thrive. And the really cool thing about this show that has been such a revelation is that I've been coming across artists who are not only thriving, but releasing new product, in terms of fashion, writing, music, film,
and evolving. Yeah,
like everyone is not letting it get in the way. They're just, there's no roadblocks here. There's just different paths to what we want. And I think that's the biggest message here. You can still create, you can still thrive, you can still be an amazing artist, and have, and be joyful despite all of these hurdles.
For sure. I mean, I know this is an unprecedented roadblock for a lot of people. And for a lot of people, it might have been like the first roadblock that they ever got to. But I've said to many of my entrepreneur friends, like, this is just another day in the park. Like, we're so used to having things thrown at us and like having to figure out how to still sustain our businesses. So I feel like entrepreneurs were like pre-trained for this kind of scenario. I think the difficult thing was that everybody had to become digital, and that might not be something that is like naturally good. Easy for you. So a lot of people had to spend a couple of months like learning how to make their product digital or how to put their service digital or all that kind of stuff, which is obviously a learning curve. But I do think that like artists and entrepreneurs are naturally adaptable.
Absolutely. And I have to agree with you there. I was incredibly intimidated by technology. I had to learn to let Mysterion do his shows because, all of a sudden he couldn't perform. He and Steffi K couldn't perform in front of people.
And they were just, getting so big in their careers too. I
know. I know. And it was just, it was heartbreaking. So, I kind of stepped up to the plate and failed live in public online with everybody, every show, and just started cutting my teeth on Zoom and just started learning it. And then StreamYard, I ended up learning in 20 hours before a huge corporate gig of theirs because their client wanted something a little more than Zoom could give at the time.
Right. So wow, that's so nice that you did that. That's awesome.
The power of love.
Yeah, and then this spawned off of that sort of birth. That's absolutely so cool.
And I have to say, Elle, I didn't do it alone. I learned remotely with one of my childhood friends, Greg, out in Kingston, and I always thank him because he works in IT for Queen's University, and he got online and spent countless hours with me teaching me how to use these things, and he's such a great teacher. And it's because of him that I can do any of this. So thank you, Greg.
Yeah, I'm like that with my brother. I'm like, he's super tech savvy, and I'm sure he gets very annoyed with the fact that I'm constantly asking him, like, how do I do this on Illustrator? How do I do what program should I use to edit videos? How do I edit the videos? It's nice to have people. You have to remember that, like, you literally can't be good at everything. So everybody needs help in some area.
Well, that's it. And I think, the unasked question is the dumb question. You have to ask these questions to learn.
Yeah.
Oh,
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, please, like, if you have a question you think it's dumb, like, what is he saying? No, I'm not annoyed. Well, he can't because he's my brother, can't be annoyed. He's a source of knowledge, that guy. He literally knows everything. It's insane.
That's amazing.
But yeah, the stupid questions are honestly like, you should never be afraid of asking those stupid. I ask stupid questions, you ask. We all do it. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of it. And if you're like, asking somebody, I have people that ask me for advice on like opening a store, like the brick and mortar stuff all the time. And it is the stupid questions that are super important. Like, what website should I use? You know what I mean? Like, should I be on Shopify? What should I do this? Should I do that? What payment processor should I use? Those seem like dumb questions, but they're actually like super important. And other entrepreneurs have gone through a lot of trial and error to like figure it out. So you might as well just ask and like save yourself some steps.
Absolutely. I mean, you just taught me a whole bunch of things there. I would not know at all. I've never done it. So. And Google doesn't always steer you in the right direction. This I've come to learn.
I mean, yeah, it can be very intimidating. It gives you 8 different answers.
Right.
Plug my phone in real quick.
Oh yeah, no worries. Well, and that's the thing, it's you learn by doing and trial and error. And if it doesn't work, then you just, learn for next time. And that's the way it goes. And I think, something I've noticed as well is that in this pandemic, people are a lot more forgiving of technological glitches as well. Case in point, that poor attorney that had to go before the judge and his son had left a cat face on his Zoom and he couldn't get rid of it. So he had to be a cat for, and the judge went, well,
like, I'm fine just going forward with this if you are.
Pre-pandemic. Oh my God, no.
Okay, I feel like I don't know if it is for people watching, but I feel like we're both getting a little sketchy right now in terms of video. Is that happening?
I am noticing a little bit. So it could be that the internet is telling us that we might need to wrap it up.
All right.
This happened to me with another interview out of Montreal, and like right by the hour mark, my guest's phone started to turn into a robot, and it went all pixelated, and I went, okay.
I mean, I can see myself fine. I can't see you. You're like a robot now.
Weird.
It definitely could be my internet, and I could move myself if you want, just closer to my thing. But also, we can just wrap it up.
Well, I mean, the truth of the matter is, Elle, I would probably love to spend another 3 hours chatting with you because you are so freaking fascinating, and you're such a wealth of knowledge, and you have such a wonderful outlook on life and career. I really hope that I hope. Thank you. I hope I can chat with you again. Doing part 2.
Yeah, for sure.
And definitely, please let me know about your fall lineup coming out on Saturday.
Yeah, so I'm going to launch it on Saturday. It'll be on rebelloveclothing.com. And if you want notifications, you can go and follow me on Rebel Love Clothing Instagram at Rebel Love Clothing. And yeah, some really cool stuff happening there. And then I'm also launching the new collection with Amy at Rockin' Betty, and that's Rockin' Betty LV. On Instagram. So we'll be launching that probably like Monday as well. So there's going to be a lot of cool clothes coming out very soon.
At Rockin' Betty
LV.
I just want to make sure I got that right. I don't even know what I'm doing now. Rockin' Betty LV. There we go. I think I've got that right. Yes, and as a ticker. Whoa, how's that? Fancy.
Thank you so much for having me and chatting with me. You're so sweet. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, Elle. I think you're absolutely wonderful. Honestly, I'm so glad that you said yes to coming on the show. Like that's
anytime. Honestly, you're a joy to talk with.
Thank you. Listen, don't go away. I'm going to circle back with you in just a minute, but thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Be well. I'll see you soon, Elle. Bye. Oh my gosh, guys, we made it through the hour, even with all the technical glitches. Can you believe that? Before I go, I do want to let you guys know again that I did the thing. I have made a Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/Planet Lizzdom, you can start being my patron. And I would love to work for you guys because I love making content for you. And I truly base my entire week around Thursdays. I just am so excited to bring new content to you, new artists. And, nothing would make me happier than to do Planet Lizzdom full time. And with your help, we're going to get there for sure. As always, I'm so happy to tell you that we are syndicated out of, I think now New York, because Carney Show has actually moved up from Austin, Texas to, I believe, Coney Island now. So you can check us out on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by the Devil's Hour. Jeff Peterson's doing some really great things right now. Check out his Twitch. He is amazing. And of course, feel free to tune in and turn on and take part because every week, guys, you never know who's going to land right here on Planet Lizzdom. I want you guys to have a great weekend. And most of all, I want you to stay hydrated. So have a great weekend, everybody. And I will see you next Thursday. Be well.